Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Deborah Lockwood from Life Changer with another in our series of Success in Cardiology. And I'm delighted to have with me today Professor Ulrika Birgersdotter-Green, otherwise known as Riki, who is a board-certified cardiologist who specializes in diagnosing and treating heart rhythm disorders. She directs the Pacemaker and Defibrillator Service at UC San Diego Health and leads one of the largest lead extraction programs in the Western United States. She's actively involved in large clinical trials evaluating biventricular pacing therapy for heart failure management and has served as national principal investigator on device trials. She's also co-authored several major consensus documents involving cardiac device guidelines. Dr. Green is associate editor of the Heart Rhythm O2 Journal, as well as being on the editorial board of Circulation Arrhythmias and Electrophysiology. And of particular interest to us here, Dr. Green was the inaugural chair for the Heart Rhythm Society's GLOWE project, that is the Growth and Leadership for Women in EP project. She has served on the Women as One program committee and leads a yearly national program for women electrophysiologists. So welcome, Riki, and thank you very much for being here. So we really are excited to hear more about GLOWE because you were involved in its very inception. So tell us how it came to be and what the point of it was and is.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all, Deborah. It's a pleasure to talk and meet over Zoom. You do a fine job pronouncing my name, so thank you. And Riki is just fine. So as I'm sure you know from many meetings over the years, there are not a lot of women in electrophysiology. And I can't understand why, because I think it's such a wonderful specialty and we have so much fun. So over the years, we've been, really looking to see how can we bring more women into cardiology, first of all, and of course, within cardiology, hoping that they will see how much fun we have in EP and also choose that. So Heart Rhythm Society, we've worked with them closely over the years to create a program that would allow the women who are in EP to get together to grow a network. And so this was an initiative by the Heart Rhythm Society. The inaugural program took off during the COVID year, 2020. Still very successful, though. We had to go for 2 years rather than one, but it has remained since then a yearly program now. And I think that the class of 2026 has already been put together. So it's a really fun, interactive way for women in EP to spend time together and learn from leaders and learn from each other.
And what sort of things are they learning about?
So we have each year is about 20 women. The target group is last year of EP fellowship and the first 10 years into practice. So what we're really looking for are the younger women coming out of fellowship and early on in their careers to create what we hope is a foundation then for lifelong friendships and feeling better about how to approach career questions. And, so both really professional growth and personal growth. We do that through both webinar type things or Zoom-like meetings with lectures and topics to discuss, and also in-person meetings then. So there is an in-person meeting every year at the Heart Rhythm Society meeting, and also at our HRX meeting that's coming up in Atlanta now in September, and there's a get-together there. So a mix of both in-person and online discussions, it is both meant to be educational, but certainly also for this group of women to get to know each other and create then a network that grows. at HRS, we hope to get like the old classes, so the 2022 group can come and meet with the 2023 and 2024. So it's not just this class of women in EP, but really an all spreading network of women in EP.
So it's primarily networking then, but what sort of topics are discussed in the webinars?
So they may change a little bit from year to year, but obviously a focus is on leadership and being comfortable with, understanding how you get in when you take a job. What are the questions you should think about? How do you approach, say, the contract discussion not just when you take a job, in fact, when you're 5 years into it and you feel like, what do I do? How do I feel good about going to my group or my superiors and say, I need this? If it is a better salary, or if it is more equipment in the EP lab, or if it is time off, all of those things. How do you create an environment when you feel comfortable having that discussion? So a lot of, I would say, focus on that from different angles, listening to people who have expertise in those areas, who are not necessarily at all EPs, but comes from different walks of life that have learned how to do this and can tell us. Business aspects of medicine, which we know much less, but we learn nothing about that, in really in any step of our careers, and we try to incorporate those aspects too.
Okay, so things like coding?
To some extent, yes. Yeah.
All right, and what else?
So we have, I remember we had in my year we did like a personality test, right? So so who are you as a person, and which was kind of fun, and you look at your results afterwards, and then you put that in a discussion of what does this tell you about you, and how can you, based on this, think about this type of discussion? Where can I maybe approach things a little bit differently? You focus on it. It's a very different discussion than learning how to ablate an accessory pathway. We don't talk about that. That we talk about plenty at other meetings.
So you're keeping it mostly for women in EP, because so far it sounds like it, could just be women in cardiology in general. So this is because you want more people to go into EP. And you're targeting people who are just coming out of training who have already decided they want to do EP, or is this also for people who are kind of on the fence about whether this is what they want to do or not?
So this is specifically for women in electrophysiology. So the target group is women who are in their last year of EP fellowship. So they have already, they're committed to EP and will go into EP.
Right.
And then women who are in their first 10 years of their career. So the American College of Cardiology, they have similar initiatives.
Right.
But this is specifically for EP.
So, but with the mission of trying to get there to be more women go into EP, then I'm assuming that the way you're hoping to do that is just really by showing that women can be successful in EP, and hoping that they will be role models for the others coming up.
Very much so, right? And I think that so much of what we do is because we have role models, or we have people we feel comfortable talking to and asking questions, and not being intimidated by, when I started out, every time I would walk into a room, it would be a room filled with men. It was 20 years of my career. Every room was filled with men. And that's what we want to change, right? I want women to walk into a room and not just see men, but see men and women working together.
Well, and also, of course, which rooms are we talking about? Because we want the rooms where decisions get made to be filled with women, and the rooms where PIs for research get chosen to be filled with women.
Oh, absolutely. When I say every room, I meant every room. And we can go from the non-existing locker room for women in EP to, the boardrooms across the board. Yeah.
Do you have any stories to tell of women who've been in these groups who've gone on to do great things and, possibly as a result of GLOWE?
I wouldn't say that I have specific stories, but I have very much felt like as chairing the first meeting, it is my happy responsibility to kind of see where's my class, like an old teacher, what happened to my class?
Right.
And I do try to follow my class along, and when I have opportunities to put them in positions where they can give back and where they can speak, where they can review papers, where they can potentially be an investigator on a study. I do my best to look out for them, and it's been nothing but fun to follow their growth along, and that's truly what I see too. So I think it's a very effective program.
Okay, great. So it's effective, again, effective mostly with the networking and finding opportunities, or do you think that well you were there, but you weren't participating as a participant, right? So have any of the participants, really said, and I don't need a name, but really said that it changed the way they looked at EP or the way they looked at their job, or they went in to negotiate a greater salary and with confidence following the GLOWE?
Yes, I would say to yes to all of that so many of them have expressed all of those things, including, we use the word networking, and I think networking is really more about establishing friendship, right?
Mhm.
When I hear networking, I think about the guys networking while playing golf, and that's not the networking that I'm really looking for, although there's nothing wrong with that. If you enjoy that, by all means, good. But more having a large group of women that you can reach out and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or I'm doing that. Or should we all get together for dinner at the next meeting we're going to? That enjoying each other's company and being comfortable is such an incredible asset in life, right? So I'm really hoping that it will establish something like that for
Right.
many of the women.
And one of the other things that possibly might come out of it, of course, would be some kind of a major collaborative research study, or some kind of collaboration that helps them all to be successful in something.
And then you're absolutely right about that. And these are all initiatives that we would like to see, not just be a discussion point at the GLOWE meetings, but really be discussion points within leadership of Heart Rhythm Society. And it has very much transitioned into that. So I think that these are discussions that are alive and well, and I'm hoping is going to result in very much something like this research initiative, as you mentioned, is, I think, very much something we need to do, and that is important for young women coming out in their careers to be able to do that.
If you could change or add anything to GLOWE, what would that be?
Well, one of the things that we did change was when when we first started out with this, we had targeted the women 5 years into practice, and we got the feedback that, hey, we still need it at year 6 or 7 or 8, and I think that that is true. So I'm very glad that it was expanded into the first 10 years, because what I do see is that we shouldn't just sit back and say, oh, great, we're getting maybe more women into EP. We really need to continue to take care of each other, and we need to continue to make sure that we get into kind of a successful second stage of a career, if you so will. So I think that was a very important addition to this program.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, so I didn't really catch what you thought you would change. Oh, you changed by expanding the range of people.
Yes, yes, yeah, because I think the topics are good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if somebody watching this is eligible from the point of view of being a woman doing EP and being in the early years, what do they have to do to get involved in GLOWE?
Yeah, so you have to go and look up the Growth and Leadership Initiative for Women in Electrophysiology through HRS. And that is easy to find. Just you can look that up on the web. What you need to submit then is a personal statement. You need to submit your CV, and then you need a letter of recommendation. That goes to a pool then of applicants, and 20 applicants will be chosen based on the applications.
Mm-hmm, lovely. So last year, for example, how many applicants were there for the 20 places?
You know, I don't know that.
Are we talking many multiples or not?
Well, I'm hoping that we're talking many, because that's obviously that is kind of the goal, that we're going to reach out to many women and give many women the opportunity. And obviously you can reapply if you don't get in 1 year. You know, you have 10 years really to do this. So I'm certainly hoping that over time we're going to be able to reach every one of those who apply.
And do you know how much it costs, and whether the cost is normally covered by the person's institution or by their own private funds?
Well, the cost would be travel to both of the meetings. One of the things that we do ask for the applicants is that this is a commitment. So applying and saying, hey, this is great, but it turns out, you know what, I can't make any of the meetings, and my time doesn't allow to participate in the webinars, then that this probably isn't the right time for you to do this right now. So we do hope and expect that those who are chosen to do this will be able to participate. For the in-person meetings, that may change a little bit from year to year. I believe HRS will sponsor the hotel room. Travel is usually up to the applicants, and hopefully an institution would pay for that, but that's going to be, I'm sure, up to individual institutions and hospitals.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of people being able to make that commitment to travel, are the sessions, the in-person sessions, usually attached to a major professional meeting?
Yes, so they're usually attached to the 2 main meetings. The main Heart Rhythm Society meeting in the spring, and the innovation meeting, HRX, in the fall.
Okay, lovely. And is it open only to US electrophysiologists or global?
That's a good question, Deborah. I actually don't know that. I would have to go research that.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm just thinking if, you know, if anybody is watching this and wants to apply.
Yes. Yeah.
Who can they do? Are there any plans to expand it? Because 20 people a year is, as you say, is not really a lot. And what limits the numbers?
Well, I actually think 20 is just about right, because you want to have a group that is large enough that you will have good fun interactions and good communication. If the group is getting bigger, you're looking more at the lecture style meetings.
Yeah.
And we really don't want this to be that.
Right. No, it's for getting to know each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 20 is the optimum size for that. I get that. And it's twice a year in person. And how often are the webinars or the online virtual meetings?
Yeah, at least 2 of them and 2 in-person meetings, but I would imagine that there could potentially be more webinars if there was a request for a specific question or something comes up in the meantime. There's, I'm sure, flexibility built in. Like we had to be very flexible during the COVID year. So, and that's another area where it's good to not have it too large of a group, right? You can be a little bit more nimble with what you do.
Yeah. Okay. So in general, so now I have you here and you are a successful woman cardiologist, electrophysiologist. Tell me why, what is it that inspires you about EP that you wish could inspire some of the future young women who are thinking about going into EP?
Well, I think you have to like to do procedures because it is a procedure-oriented specialty. So that definitely does help. The procedures are really fun, and I hope that, and sometimes I get a little worried that you go into an EP lab and you get like intimidated by a lot of screens and a lot of things happening. And this is where I want everyone to say, okay, let's take a big breath in. It's gonna be fine. And we're all gonna learn this. And in the end of the day, these are good, fun procedures. We do good stuff for patients. Patients do well with pacemakers. Patients do well with AFib ablations. These are, I think, in the end of the day, just really rewarding things that we do. And that is it makes you feel good. Our clinics, I see a lot of patients with pacemakers, which is really what I do. And I love my patients. It's a great clinic. These patients come in once or twice a year. They know why they're going to come in. They're going to come in to get their pacemaker checked. We check their pacemaker. Hopefully we can say, everything is really good. How are the grandchildren? And then we have a little talk about this. And then I said, have a great year. I'll see you back in a year. And it's a good visit. Everyone is happy. And so it's you have both the procedure bit of it, but you also have the outpatient clinic part of it that really gives you that I get to see my patient long term for 20, 25, 30 years. I mean, how unique is that?
Right, you really.
And then I will say that, it does help that we don't do a lot of procedures on weekends or 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm just going to be honest. That is a nice part of it.
Yeah, agreed. And I think another nice part is the opportunity, because you do mostly devices, but of course in EP you can do devices and lead extractions, which you do, and ablations, and be doing something different every day that keeps every day really, really interesting. Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Okay. So if you were talking, I wish we could do this, but if we were talking to a room full of cardiology trainees who haven't yet decided what to do, women, let's make them women, because I think that's where the deficit is for both interventional cardiology and EP and academic cardiology. So they're mostly going into general cardiology, it seems. So, well, firstly, why do you think that is? And do you think that's really what they choose to do? Or do you think they're kind of pushed into, or not so much pushed, but made to believe that they shouldn't go for the more interventional specialties? What do you think happens there? Why do we lose these people from the interventional specialties?
I will say that I think it is unfortunate if you end up choosing something that you really don't quite want to do because you are either afraid or you don't want to spend another year doing training, because in the end, this is of course what you are going to do for the rest of your life. So uh, putting in a little bit more time, maybe more effort, or overcoming the challenges to get to this, it's worth it, because the rest of your life, this is what you do. I am worried that women think that this is a really massive time commitment, and for electrophysiology, you add 2 years. Now there is now a slightly different track where you can do 2 years of cardiology and 2 years of EP, so that shaves 1 year off your training. And I do think that that makes a difference, because time is important. There's no doubt about that, and it is a long training. Women rightfully worry about radiation exposure. And I do think that that's something we absolutely need to think about and talk about. We are getting much better when it comes to that. You look at where we were 20 years ago with equipment and all of that. We're definitely reducing the dose of radiation that we get, but it is a real concern, and something that should be discussed. And I brought up the intimidation, and I think we all get a little intimidated, because I think of myself going into the EP lab those many times, that it feels a little overwhelming, but I'm sure that's the case for men too. So we just need to say, we can do this.
Yep, we can do this. I think that's a really good message maybe to end on, unless there is something in particular that you would like to pass on to this audience of, let's say, early career cardiologists.
I said it in the beginning. Can I end with this again and just saying, electrophysiology, it's really fun. No, you will not be disappointed.
And I agree entirely. All right. Thank you so much, Shaki. That was really nice of you. Thank you for your time and for your insight.
Well, thank you for having me.